spot to begin action here at Bedford High Stadium between the Astros and the Bulldogs. Teams huddling up one last time before the start of action. Corey, let's talk about the face-off. It's kind of unique in women's lacrosse, the way they tee up the ball and do that.
Yeah, Harry, they call it a draw, and they have 3 midfielders from each team that are allowed to get into that midfield area. 2 need to stay out around the edge of the circle, while 2 take the draw in the middle part. And you'll see, unlike the boys' game, instead of being on the ground, they're about waist level. The referees will put their sticks parallel to the ground. They'll try to set them in a certain position, blow the whistle, and then the draw has to go up above shoulder level for them to be able to resume play. It's a unique start to a game, unlike what you see in any other sport.
It's more physical on the boys' side, but I also, having seen a few of these games, there are often many restarts on the draw. What exactly happens that causes the official to do the draw again?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. The ball needs to go above shoulder height, so that's the main culprit that would cause them to redraw. Frequently, if one of the players might move their stick a little bit beforehand, or a false start, if you will, the referee might blow it back and try to have a redraw at that point as well. But frequently, it's the ball not going above shoulder height that will cause them to do it over.
So lining up for the draw is Sydney Lynch for Bedford and Lillian Ogier for the Astros. Draw is set up by the official, and we're about to get underway. Ball is in the air, and won by the Astros. Pass into the offensive zone to Peredna. She passes it behind the line to Daziel, Caroline Daziel. She's moving behind the goal line, now spins around in front of the net, along the fan. Lillian Ogier with it, being guarded. Leaves the ball there for Madison Daziel, and we have a whistle.
Looks like they might be calling a defensive 3 seconds on the backside. Number 34, Zoe Michaud, might have been hanging in the defensive area a little too long. You need to get your feet outside of the fan if you're not directly guarding the ball. So you're going to have an 8-meter free position. Great save by the goalie.
Yeah, Hannah Paradis getting the stick down low, making a stop right there. Big play early for the Bulldogs. And we have another stoppage in play. What's the call here?
Harry, it looks like her stick broke. A piece of it is in her right hand as she runs off the field with her stick in the left, so she's getting a new stick. It's an unusual thing for a shot to break a stick like that.
And she returns to the field. Unusual stoppage here with 24:05 left in the first half. Will this cause a redo of the 8-meter attempt here?
So Bedford had gained possession after that 8-meter shot, and the referee blew it dead off here to the left, so they're going to retain possession of the ball and move up the field.
And driving up the field right now is Julian Bell. Crosses midfield. Leaves it there for Chamberlain Bell. They slow down, set the off at Sydney Lynch now. Cross to McEachern. Now over to Bell once again. Working the perimeter. McCarthy. Up to McEachern. McEachern still with it. Leaves it for Bell. Bedford taking their time here, setting up their offense. Now the pass to McCarthy. She drives and pulls up. Actually, Bell with the ball. Her shot saved there by Martineau. Goes out of bounds, but Bedford in position to retain possession.
That was a nice drive by Hannah McCarthy there. Went with her right hand along goal line, extended, came back. Gave a little bit of a backhand flip on a nice shot.
Dermody gives it to Chu behind the X. Comes around, tries to get in position, but well defended there by Sydney Derry. Now Chu tries it again, comes across the goal line, now drifts back. Bell with it, returning to the perimeter, working it there.
It was nice help defense by Pinkerton there on Chu's drive.
Now McCarthy tries to drive, and she's pushed away, and we get a whistle here, and there'll be a. Is this a restart or a 8-meter play?
This is not a free position. I think she was just outside of the fan, so they're not going to give her an 8-meter free position. But she's going to take a shot and score anyway.
Hannah McCarthy with the first goal at the 22:20 mark of the first half.
13, Hannah McCarthy.
So just like that, Bedford's on the board.
Get stuck, Harry. Get stuck.
Again, a call by the referee there just outside the fan. Looked like a push or a cross check. Gave McCarthy a free position shot just outside of the fan and a tough bouncer.
So on the draw here, ball goes up and won by Osier of Pinkerton. Pass up ahead to Daziel. She loses the ball, and Bedford comes the other way. McEachern loses it momentarily, but gets possession back. Crosses the midfield. Pass across to Dermody along the sideline. Now Chamberlain Bell with it. Sydney Lynch across to Julian Bell to McEachern. Along the perimeter down to Sydney Chu. Bedford just working the perimeter here on offense.
Really starting to establish their possession here. They'll get it around the outside and then get into their offensive set, likely with 2 offensive players behind so they can chase any errant shots.
Bell centering pass and a shot that by McCarthy, and a nice save there by Martineau. Keeps it at 1-0 Bedford. Here come the Astros the other way.
That was a nice save. Went to the offside of the goalie's side.
Now we have a turnover here. Blaska loses control 2-on-1. There's a shot and
Off the pipe.
Off the pipe there. That was a Dermody's shot high off the crossbar. Pinkerton picks up the loose ball, trying to get across midfield here, being harassed by the Bedford defense. Lazoskas carrying it along the sideline into the Bedford zone. Now she brings it behind the goal line. Paradise is holding the stick up, trying to limit her opportunities to center.
So Pinkerton is looking for some cutters up high. Now they get it out back high.
Now Madison Daziel trying to find a lane. And the pass broken up. Loose ball in the Bedford zone, and we have a whistle.
Looked like an empty check on Pinkerton.
And there's another whistle there. Looks like number 6, Peredna, putting a body check on. Got whistled for that. Now into the Pinkerton end. Chamberlain Bell. Now she pulls up, waits for her teammates to join the rush as Bedford gets set up. Dermody behind the goal line with Chu. Chu has the ball now. Looking for a centering pass. There it is, and a shot and a goal. Second one for Hannah McCarthy. This one's going to come with an assist from Chu at 19:38.
That was a great off-ball cut by Hannah McCarthy. Was able to catch it and finish offside. Great assist by Chu. Hit her right with plenty of time to be able to make that shot offside.
McCarthy. Assist number 7, Riley 2.
So a couple of great possessions there for the Bulldogs, and they've got a 2-0 lead here early in the game. 19:38 to go in the first half.
We'll see what happens on the draw here again. Osier has won the first 2. We'll see if Bedford can make a good contest for this.
Lynch is opposing Osier on this draw. Ball is in the air. Still loose in the circle, and it looks like Bedford comes up with it this time. Lynch with it, driving into the Pinkerton zone, then pulls up. Bell with it. To McEachern, to Lynch. McCarthy and Chu. Once again, Bedford working the perimeter here. So Corey, this is a way for the Bulldogs to kind of settle things down and map out their offensive strategy by working that perimeter?
That's exactly right. It gives them a chance to settle the ball, gain their composure, maybe even gain their breath if they need it after a transition. And then, after 3 or 4 passes, maybe 5 or 6 around the outside, then they'll go into their offensive set with, again, usually 2 attackers behind.
And Chamberlain Bell scores right there, coming up from behind the goal line. She beat her defender. And that makes it 3-0 Bedford at the 18:45 mark.
Nice dodge from back right. And good finish again to the goalie's offside. Hardest place to save the ball is offside hip, and that's exactly where Chamberlain Bell hit.
I was going to mention, too, that the Astros got very aggressive defensively behind the goal line. They usually don't send that many players behind the net to pressure Bedford, to not give them a free ride behind the net.
Yeah, Harry, that could have been a defensive call on their choice. When Bedford gets it into the offensive zone, they slow it down. They could have been pressing out a little bit, trying to give them a little bit out of their comfort zone, forcing the action a little bit.
And the faceoff is won by Bedford. There's a pass up the sideline to McCarthy. She centers it to McEcker, and she's got a lane, shoots and wide, but it goes out of bounds with Bedford retaining possession.
Looks like Dermody did a nice back job on the backup there. In transition, they got a good shot off, missed the cage, but they were there for the backup.
So Dermody now, Chu, McCarthy, or correction, that's Bell with the ball. And a centering shot, pass, and a goal. Beautiful setup there. Mackenzie McEcker, she missed the last time. She didn't miss that time. It's 4-0 Bedford.
Strong start by the Bulldogs here.
And the assist, I believe, would go to Bell on that. Was that 17?
Yeah, that's what it looked like from back left, from the goalie's standpoint.
And our official confirms that the assist goes to Bell. And now a timeout called by Rob Daziel, I believe. Try to get his team to settle down and get back into this game. They've fallen behind 4-0 in a little over 6 minutes of action.
Yeah, as we were talking about, Harry, the Bedford Bulldogs have gotten into the offensive end, settled it down, caught their breath, organized their offense, and made some good cuts through the middle. A couple of good dodges from the wings and from X, putting a lot of pressure on the Pinkerton defense.
And possession is critical in lacrosse. That was the case in the boys' game that we did last week. And it's the same here, not just turnovers in their defensive end, but also winning the face-offs. You can't score without hanging on to the ball. So winning those, I think they've won, after losing the first 2 face-offs, they've won the next 2, and were able to convert those into points.
Yeah, either the draw or the face-off, depending if it's girls or boys. If you have a dominant player in the middle of the field that can get you possession, it becomes a make-it-take-it almost. So if you score a goal, you're going to get possession right back. So it was good to see Bedford come back with 2 draw wins after Osier had won the first 2 for Pinkerton.
So it looks like the Astros are wrapping up their huddle with Coach Rob Daziel, longtime coach of that program. Done a great job with the Astros.
Coach Daziel's probably just having his team take a deep breath and say, hey, you guys, you need to get your heads back into it here. It's a rough start, but this is a lacrosse game. Goals can come fast and furious.
What do you think Coach Christine Hodgson is telling her charges in this game?
I would expect her to say, keep doing what you're doing. They've done a good job on the defensive end, got some decent shots, but came up with a real strong save on an 8-meter shot. Good transition through the midfield, and then we're able to settle the ball on the offensive end, retaining possession and working for good shots.
And we're ready to set up the draw here. Once again, it's Lynch versus Osier. Ball is in the air and picked up by the Astros. Zoe Howe has it. She carries it into the Bedford end. She waits for her teammates to come into the zone as well, and they set the offense up. Bulldogs up 4-0 with 17:58 to go here in the first half. There's a pass up to Peredna. Over to Howe. Up high it goes to Kylie Davis. She peels away, and now Lillian Osier with it, being checked by McEachern. Now pass inside, and a save by Paradise on a point-blank shot.
Another great save by Paradise.
I was going to say. The Astros do retain possession. Lizauskas restarts. There's a centering pass and a shot high by Osier. Good setup, but couldn't get the ball down.
Pinkerton's able to back it up and retain possession here.
Now back out to the perimeter is Zoe Howe. Lillian Osier to Kylie Davis. Back behind the net, Carolyn Daziel. She's being checked by Natalie Rago for Bedford. Now at the top of the fan. Howe had it, but peels back. Lillian Osier working the perimeter as well. Now Kylie Davis looking for a lane to shoot. Good defense there by Bedford. She tries again. Gets it to Osier. Bedford doing a really good job limiting the shooting lanes for the Astros. Now there's a shot low, but we had a whistle.
Yeah, the ref's going to call shooting space here. So a help defender came in, but was in the way of the attacker's shot access to the goal, so they call that shooting space. They get a free position shot at the 8-meter.
That's Osier taking it here. Paradise was able to make the save on the first 8-meter. There's a shot down low, and it goes off the goal post. I would imagine Osier wished the official hadn't blown the whistle, because that initial shot did go into the goal.
And that can be a frustrating point of emphasis for attackers if they do gain that advantage. Even though the player has come into a shooting position infraction, the offensive player sometimes can follow through on that and still score. Yet the call goes, they reset.
And now the Astros on the board right there. Kylie Davis with a feed inside, moving laterally, able to beat Paradise at 15:28.
That was a tough defensive stand for the Bedford Bulldogs. They did a really good job switching off on some screens, sliding through some others. They were just playing about 2.5, 3 minutes of defense there, so it was a long defensive possession, and it ended up with a goal from Pinkerton.
Well, the Astros have had to work to get that one goal. They had 2 8-meters that they failed to convert on. A couple of big saves there by Paradise. It was Kylie Davis who got that, number 16. And off the face-off, the Astros have it again. Lillian Osier carrying it. Down low to Carolyn Daziel. Cross to Lauren Lizauskas. Lizauskas looking for somebody to center. Pulls back. Now finds a pass out to Seleni.
Good defensive position along the goal line extended by Natalie Rago.
Coming up from behind the net is a goal. Kind of a wraparound play there. Number 12, Lauren Lizauskas. And just like that, they cut the Bedford lead to 4-2.
Making a goal by number 12, Lauren Lizauskas.
That comes at the 14:47 mark.
It was a nice drive, right-handed from X, came around the crease, faked high, got the goalie to move, and was able to finish up high. Nice play by Lizauskas.
Now we've got Hannah McCarthy on the draw for Bedford. And Bedford comes up with the possession as Osier fell down. Julian Bell carries it. Now up to Chamberlain Bell.
And you'll see them settle the offense. take a minute to get into their formation, catch their breath, and then send 2 attackers behind and set up their offense.
Bedford needs to get a goal here to regain the momentum after giving up 2 straight goals to the Astros. McCarthy behind the net, being watched closely there by the Astros defender, number 3, Wong. Now centering pass, misses everybody, but Bedford retains the loose ball. Jillian Bell came up with that. Now the Bulldogs reset their offense.
Harry, the Pinkerton defense did a little interesting play there. They said they sent a backer, so they knew some of the stronger Bedford players were handling the ball, and they set the double team right away. So you can see it right now.
And McEachran very deftly maintains control, but the pass intended for McCarthy goes out of bounds, and I believe, will that be a turnover? Will that ball go to the Astros?
Out of bounds on Bedford. It's going to be a turnover for Pinkerton. And that's exactly what they're trying to do with that backer defense. They're sending a double team right away. They're trying to get the Bedford team to move the ball.
Across the midfield stripe. Still with the ball. That was number 18, Madison Daziel.
Now, see, this is interesting. Pinkerton tried to send 2 defenders back, but they need to freeze on the whistle. They're not able to just walk back there on the whistle. So the referee is resetting them closer to their original position.
And Bell decides to pass off rather than take the shot. Chamberlain Bell behind the net. Tries to cut in front, but is driven back. Still with it. Passes it up to Chu along the goal line. Chu wheels around. She drew some contact there.
They're going to call a defensive 3 seconds on the backside on Anna Blaska. They're going to have a 8-meter here for Riley Chu. See if she can convert. Well, actually, it's not an 8-meter. It's just outside the fan.
So Chu decides to peel back and continue the Bedford possession. Pass down behind the net to Chamberlain Bell. Bell fights off the defender, then decides to go the other way. Centering pass intercepted by number 7, Seleni. No, correct, that number is number 22. That was Sydney Derry there with the strong defensive play, breaking up that centering pass.
It was good, strong defense on goal line extended by Emily Wong from Pinkerton. Was able to keep Chamberlain Bell from coming around on goal line extended, coming high, forced an errant pass.
Now pass up high, now down low to number 10, Zoe Howe.
And they're going to call a shooting space here again. That's an unusual call because she was looking to pass the ball off. You normally need to have intent to shoot there.
The shot and a goal by Lauren Lasauskas makes it 7-5 Pinkerton with 1:48 to go in this half. So these 8-meter attempts, those are pretty precious, and they can really hurt you in the long run if you give up too many of those.
Very true, and it puts a lot of pressure on the defense to really play within the rules, especially within that offensive scoring area, within that 8-meter fan.
So if I understand correctly, you're not allowed to impede the shooter?
You're able to impede them. However, if somebody's coming over to help on a drive from an offensive player, if they're standing in between the offensive player and the goalie and they're not covering another offensive player, the referees will call shooting space, which means
so it's not like in hockey with you have multiple screens in front of a goalkeeper.
Correct. Those screens are perfectly allowed and encouraged in hockey, whereas in women's lacrosse, it's considered shooting space. You're not allowing the offensive player the appropriate space to shoot on the goal.
So off the draw, Pinkerton wins possession. Lazauskas gets the ball and then decides to peel out to reset the Astros offense. Lazauskas behind the X, wheeling around, attempts a shot, decides to hold back, centering to Zoe Howe at the top of the van. Howe being guarded there by the Bulldogs. Now they peel back once again, and Lillian Osier has it. to Madison DeZiel, to Sister Caroline. Along extended goal line. Behind the net, and a shot right there by Lazauskas off the post. But Caroline DeZiel is able to pick up the loose ball behind the net. Now she loses possession, and Grace Ann Rooney gets it for Bedford, going the other way.
That's a tough clear. She should look for an opportunity to turn back. This might be called a charge. Yep.
It's like basketball, whoever had their feet planted.
Yeah, Pinkerton did a really nice job of getting back and redefending or riding. They turned the ball over. However, they didn't stop playing defense. They were able to get back in the way. So it looked like Lillian Auger was able to draw that charge, or actually Kylie Davis.
Well, it looked like Rooney was really running out of room along that sideline. Is that a strategy to kind of corral the possessor of the ball into a more confined space as they move up the sideline?
Yes, absolutely. As they go to that sideline, the Pinkerton players are trying to corral her. That's why if you're able to spin back and reverse the ball to the opposite sideline, it usually allows you to clear the ball a little bit easier.
And we have another 8-meter attempt here. A little false start there by 34 Zoe Michaud for Bedford.
It was a physical check along that right goal line extended, giving up the 8-meter. And unfortunately, she misses high.
Trying to get the number of the shooter. There was that number 16, Kylie Davis.
It looked like it. Bedford did a nice job of backing the ball up. And now they're going to try to clear it.
And here we go, another sideline crunch here.
You see 3 Pinkerton players crowding around her. And Ava Gaudette did a nice job. It looked like we might have a rolled ankle here, unfortunately, by Carolyn DeZiel.
Looks like she's holding her knee. And the players drop their sticks.
Yeah, and a break in the action here. The girls, again, because they don't have free movement during stoppages of play, they need to drop their sticks to maintain the position they were on the field at the time of the stoppage.
Only 19.4 seconds remaining here in the first half while we have some stoppage time. Why don't we recap the scoring?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Bedford started strong with 4 goals in a row, 2 by McCarthy, 1 by Bell, and 1 by Mackenzie McEachern. But Pinkerton came back with 4 of their own, 2 again by Davis, 1 by Lazauskas, and another by Auger. Riley Chu was able to get Bedford back on top at 5-4, but then 3 more goals by the Pinkerton offense, 1 by Auger and then 2 by Lazauskas, have put Pinkerton on the top, 7-5 with only 19 seconds left in the first half. As we thought, it's pretty high scoring. But I have to say the defenses have done a nice job sliding along the outside of the fan, defending the 8-meter, making good switches on pick and rolls, and doing a nice job of slowing down both defenses, I have to say, slowing down the offensive firepower that we're seeing here today.
Caroline DeZiel still being worked on along the sideline there. Father and Coach Rob checking up on her along with the trainer. A quick programming note, we're going to have Bedford baseball on the radio for you on Friday at 4 o'clock. Andrew Hansen and Lauren Fox will be bringing you action from SAU Field against the Grizzlies of Goffstown. So we hope everybody tunes in Friday at 4 o'clock for that. And Caroline DeZiel is being helped off the field there. The injury might be a bit more serious than just a minor twist here.
Yeah, and you hope for the best for Caroline as she gets help to the sideline.
So the Astros losing the service of Caroline DeZiel, it would appear for the rest of this game, the way she's being carried off the field. 19.4 to go in the half. Bedford with possession. Ava Gaudette surrounded by 4 Astros here. She'll need to find an empty position to get the ball to, avoid the turnover.
Now, if they're able to retain possession, get into the offensive zone, there's plenty of time here to get another look at the goal here.
And we're about to begin. And contact made there by number 6, Haley Predna, and whistled down. And God is able to beat the press, and she's got a lane to the net. Now she peels back, pass across to Hannah McCarthy. She has a chance and fires a shot that goes wide, misses the net, and we're going to see who maintains possession here. 3.8 seconds to go. Bedford has the ball. Here's a centering attempt. Ball's loose, and the keeper, Martineau, picks up the loose ball, and that runs out the clock. So nice scoring attempt there by Bedford. Couldn't quite find the mark, and the score remains 7-5. Astros in the lead here.
There's a bit of a scramble there in those last 20 seconds. Bedford did a nice job to get it down all the way into that offensive zone. Good scoring position. McCarthy got a good shot off. Unfortunately, she couldn't hit the net. And we're going to end at a 7-5 lead for Pinkerton for the first half.
Second half action coming up at with a 10-minute pause here at BHS Field. I'm Harry Kozlowski along with Corey Meister-Tiger. Did I say that right?
Munster-Tiger.
Munster-Tiger. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. No problem. 13 long letters. It's hard to pronounce.
We're going to take a break here and be back in about 9 minutes for second half action. 7-5, the Astros in the lead. And we're back a little early. They decided to shorten halftime a bit. Ready to bring you second half action here between the Astros and the Bulldogs. I'm Harry Kozlowski along with Corey Munster-Tiger, ready to give you the call of the game.
We're settling in for the draw to start the second half here. Kenzie McEachran gains possession. Down the right side. And they're likely going to settle their offense. Scramble behind the cage. Riley Chu is able to come up with a ground ball, settle things down. Back to Chamberlain Bell at X. She's drawing a double team here. And it looked like one of the defenders might have stepped into the crease here. So Bedford retains possession. Chamberlain Bell comes to the back left of the goalie. Drives behind right, over to McCarthy. Nice double team by the Pinkerton defense. Force a low shot, and a good save by the goalie, Lauren Sweeney. Chamberlain Bell comes up with the ground ball. It looks like they're going to call an illegal check on Lauren Sweeney, the goalie. Riley Chu on the restart, back up to McCarthy. And an errant stick looked like it caught Hannah McCarthy in the face. Caitlin Bennett is going to be sent off with a yellow card for 2 minutes. So Pinkerton will play one down for the next 2 minutes. Sydney Lynch up top. Pass to a cutting Hannah McCarthy. Bounce shot. Nice save by Lauren Sweeney. She picks up the ground ball and is fouled by Riley Chu. Pass up to Anna Blaska. She looks to clear the ball. Another yellow card is going to be issued here to Julian Bell. The referee thought she was a little out of control with her stick, coming too forcefully through the offensive player's bubble surrounding her head. Blaska makes a pass over to Madison Dazio. Pass across the middle, unfortunately they miss. That ball might chase out of bounds, but nope, it's tracked down there by Natalie Rago, but then turns it back over to Pinkerton on an aggressive ride. Kylie Davis up top for Pinkerton. Over to Lillian Ogier. to Dazio. Now over to Haley Peredna. So Pinkerton's going to look to kill some time here as they try to get their offensive player back on the field. But an errant pass goes over to the sideline. Pinkerton's able to keep it in and regain possession. A nice tip there by the Bedford Bulldogs. They had the ball loose, but were unable to gain possession. Now the ball's back on the ground. So Pinkerton, their yellow card is released, and now they have a player advantage. A nice feed in the middle, and unfortunately they can't finish. Amy Quigley had a chance, put the ball past the net. Could have been a good save by Hannah Paradise. Not sure if she got a piece of that. And there's a ground ball by Mackenzie McEachern, who's able to scoop it up and get the ball into transition. Harry again, Pinkerton's defense is coming out aggressively. Many times you'll see them hang around the 8-meter and let the play come to them. But Pinkerton is coming out a little bit more aggressively than the standard defense. There's a double team, a nice cut. Can't connect on the pass from Chu to Chamberlain Bell, and Pinkerton comes out with the ground ball. Fast into transition. If they work, they can get an odd man situation. It looks like Kylie Davis is able to draw a shooting space violation on Zoe Michaud. So she'll have an 8-meter to Hannah Paradise's top left.
Make sure you don't touch that.
And there's a goal by Kylie Davis on the offside, extending the lead for Pinkerton to 8-5 with 19:40 left in the second half.
By number 16, Kylie Davis.
So some up and down action here. Pinkerton and Bedford exchanging great opportunities for scoring chances, with Davis being able to capitalize here with 19:40 left, extending the Pinkerton lead to 3. Kylie Davis's third goal on the day. Back to the draw at midfield, and Julian Bell's able to gain possession for the Bulldogs. Pass over to McEachern, who's fouled, and restarts on the self-start. Looks behind to Dermody. Back up top to Sydney Lynch. It's a good find. Chamberlain Bell has trouble with the ground ball, but is fouled in the process and retains possession for Bedford Bulldogs. Chamberlain Bell on the left-handed drive from X gets fouled. She'll have a good look at the cage. Not necessarily considered an 8-meter. It's a free position, but it's a tough angle here for Chamberlain Bell. Looked like we had a false start. Oh, actually, never mind. We're tying a shoe. Bell decides to pull it out, finds McCarthy in the middle. One more to McEachern. Can't handle it in the middle. The ball's on the ground. And Bedford comes out with the ground ball. Nice pass into Riley Chu in the middle with a nice cut through the middle. However, it looked like that shot came off the pipe. And we're getting an abundance of yellow cards here. Apparently the referees feel the checks are a little out of control here, Harry.
Corey doing a great job calling the game. Just so folks know here, Bill Jennings, who's normally our cameraman, had to go set up for another event this evening. So I'm on camera now, and I'll be happy to admit this is the first time I've done this, so doing the best I can here, trying to keep up with the action, but you need to concentrate on things, so we'll just leave things to Corey to describe the action.
Lauren Lazowskis gains possessions and cuts through the midfield, comes around cage from the right-hand side and is able to finish high on Hannah Paradise to extend it to a 4-goal lead. It's going to be 9-5. At 17:42 left in the second half, with a nice goal by Lauren Lazowskis coming around from X.
And it looks like Coach Hodgson has decided to take a timeout here, much as Rob Daisiel did early in the game when the Bulldogs had a 4-0 lead. Since then, it's been a 9-1 run here for the Astros. Definitely a turn of fortunes.
Extending back to the first half, this is 5 goals in a row for the Pinkerton Astros. And Harry, if we think back to that original timeout by Coach Daisiel, after that 4-goal run to open the game from Bedford, they've really settled in. And it looked like to me, it was a major change in their defensive philosophy, extending out, putting pressure on the Bedford Bulldogs after they got into the offensive side of the field. Putting pressure, which Bedford is probably not used to. Many times the defensive team will defend the 8-meter, so they'll stay around the edges of that fan and they'll let teams pass it around the outside. Pinkerton is taking a more aggressive approach here and getting into the hands, making it a little bit more uncomfortable for the Bedford Bulldogs in the offensive zone.
Well, there's still plenty of time to recover from this deficit. It's 17:42 remaining here in the second half, remaining in the game.
And a game of runs.
That's right. So we'll see if this timeout will prove fruitful for the Bulldogs.
So we'll have to watch this too. The referees have called a few yellow cards here with what they feel like are dangerous checks. Sticks flying through what they call the bubble. So the area 12 inches in, 7 inches in the high school game from the offensive player's head. If the referees feel those defensive checks are getting far too close or even hitting the offensive players, they're going to send them off for a yellow card.
I imagine safety is a major concern here in the women's game. They're wearing a lot less equipment.
Well, we've seen a lot of evolution for the women's game over the last 20 years, and certainly within the last probably 5 to 7, you're starting to see some girls wearing helmets, more so than just the goalies. The eyewear actually never used to be worn probably, 15 or 18 years ago in the women's game. They used to have nothing on their heads. So, yes, the safety is of utmost concern. They want to make sure any of these dangerous checks are strongly discouraged. On the draw, still a scrum at midfield. Looks like Sydney Lynch is able to come away with the ground ball. She's fouled on a face dodge, just entering the restraining box. We'll see if Bedford can get back on the offensive train that they were in the first few minutes of the game. They're coming in with the double team here on Chamberlain Bell right away. And that's that same aggressive defense that we were talking about, Harry, that they're aggressively coming out, double teaming the ball, trying to get it out of certain players' hands. This is where Bedford's going to need to cut off ball if folks aren't being guarded. We're going to have to get the ball to the open player. Looks like Chamberlain Bell has drawn an 8-meter to the top right of Lauren Sweeney. She came around strong from X with right hand, was dodging from behind, and was checked forcefully. And actually, we're going to have another yellow card. This one to Madison Dazio, who was sent off for 2 minutes for an aggressive check. It's turned into a very physical game here in the second half. Aggressive defense, determined offense. And Chamberlain Bell will stare down an 8-meter from the top right and is able to finish. Nice goal by Chamberlain Bell. Brought her stick high and is able to finish over the top of Lauren Sweeney to bring it back to within 3-9-6 with 16:26 to play.
And a perfect time to end that Pinkerton's run of scoring. Try to get the Bulldogs back into the game here, cutting the lead to just a 3-goal deficit to 9-6. And there is 16:26 remaining in this second half.
We still have 2 players serving cards, 1 for each side. So we're going to have 6 offensive players for each team. And here we have the draw again. Sydney Lynch for Bedford against Lillian Osier. And Pinkerton's able to gain possession with Kylie Davis scooping up the ground ball. Good defense there by Sydney Lynch. But we're going to have a stoppage as Bedford is offsides here. So Mackenzie McEachern is sent back to the restraining box. Pinkerton retains possession with Kylie Davis off to the right of Hannah Paradise. They're going to settle, keep the ball up top, and look for some cutters through the fan to see if they can get an open offensive player right there above Hannah Paradise. So Bedford's yellow card was just released. However, it doesn't matter as Haley Peredna comes around from the left-hand side and stings the upper right corner on Hannah Paradise to get it back to a 4-goal lead for Pinkerton, 10-6 with 15:53 to play.
They're going to go by number 6, Haley Peredna.
So a game of runs, but not this time. We've traded goals. 2 by Pinkerton, 1 by Bedford, and then another by Pinkerton. The margin remains 4, 10-6 with 15:53 to play. The draw goes to, well, we're actually going to have another card here on Lillian Osier for an aggressive check from behind on Hannah McCarthy. McCarthy will scoop the ball and get the play started. So now Pinkerton will be down 2 players. And we'll see if Bedford can capitalize on this. Julian Bell with a nice, we call that a split dodge, Harry. She starts with her right hand, splits back to her left hand, and was able to sting the upper right corner. Nifty move by Julian Bell to bring it back to 10-7.
Julian Bell.
Nice shot to hit the offside high on Lauren Sweeney. Unfortunately, she's made some good saves, but wasn't able to catch up to that one. 15:39 left, and in a matter of only 14 seconds, Bedford was able to match Pinkerton's last goal by Peredna.
Goals coming fast and furious in the second half. Lots of action for the fans here at BHS Stadium.
We'll go back to the draw. Hannah McCarthy and Kylie Davis will take this one. And again, Pinkerton is down 2 players right now. but are able to gain possession on the draw, with Sydney Derry passing over to Kylie Davis, pressing the action. Now you'll notice Bedford could come out and double team this ball. It's a challenge with such a big field, but they're going to try to force a turnover. Meanwhile, Pinkerton is going to try to kill it. Again, they're 2 players down. Amy Quigley comes, drives right side, passes up top to Kylie Davis, and they're really going to take the air out of the ball and wait for their teammates to get back on the field after their yellow cards. Zoe Howe's getting double teamed down in the corner, but's able to find Amy Quigley, who is seemingly fouled, and will retain possession for Pinkerton. Quigley up top to Kylie Davis. They're double teaming her. An aggressive check from behind by Sydney Lynch is called, so Pinkerton will retain possession. And they look top, across. Ground ball is picked up by Julian Bell. A lot of traffic in front, so she does a nice job to back it out, find an open player, but can't connect on the pass. Some incidental contact. Pinkerton player goes down, Peredna, and will get possession for the Astros. And now Pinkerton sends their 7th player onto the field, and we have even play again. A short stoppage here while the referees ensure that the right number of players are on. She may have lost track of the yellow card that came off, or maybe the yellow card is not run out. So Lillian Ogier is being sent back off. And Pinkerton will still be down 1 player. And as we try to figure out what happened here, it looks like maybe they sent a player on too early and are being penalized for that infraction. So now Sydney Lynch gets the ball and is going to transition through the midfield, taking it down the right side. Finds Dermody, back up to Chamberlain Bell, over to McCarthy. Makes a nice move back to her right hand, is able to score on a low shot past Lauren Sweeney to bring the score to 10-8. Harry, we have a 2-point game.
Bedford goal by number 13, Hannah McCarthy.
So 13:09 left in the second half. Bedford scores 2 in a row to close the gap to 2 goals. We have a 10-8 game and a lot of time left. The referees are really trying to keep control of this game. There have been some aggressive checks on both sides and a lot of yellow cards doled out. Some seemingly obvious and some maybe not as obvious. But we're back at the draw at midfield with Hannah McCarthy and it looks like Kylie Davis on the next draw. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Madison Dazio. Referee's going to call a cover here on Hannah McCarthy on the ground ball. And so Pinkerton will get possession with Zoe Howe taking the ball down the right side. And again, Pinkerton is down 2 players right now, sent off for yellow cards. Zoe Howe makes a nice move with her left hand, comes around from X, and is able to hit a high bouncer into the top left corner to extend the Pinkerton lead back to 3, 11-8.
Taking goal by number 10, Zoe Howe.
Maybe Bedford gave Zoe Howe a little too much room there
It
to
seemed like
operate
they
in.
seemed like they lost track of her when she was behind the cage. Again, if you have extra players on defense, you're going to want to double team the ball. Some nifty moves back there. A dodge here and there. She got high with her left hand and was able to finish. The lights have come on here in the stadium as the evening sets in and the draw gets into the air. We're going to have an empty check here on Bedford. And Sydney Derry's able to get possession for Pinkerton. Another check infraction on Hannah McCarthy this time. So Pinkerton again retains possession. A good check from behind there to get the ball on the ground. And Zoe Michaud is able to get the ground ball up to Riley Chu, who's streaking right down the middle. Nice move. And there was a delayed shooting space. And so Riley Chu earns an 8-meter. So Riley Chu has an 8-meter from top center on Lauren Sweeney. And she scores.
Bedford goal by number 7, Riley Chu.
So a hard shot low by Riley Chu. Scores the 9th goal of the game for Bedford. They trail by 2 with 11:45 left. We've been trading goals here, Harry, in the second half. 2-1 and 2-1, going back and forth.
And a 2-goal deficit is definitely a more manageable deficit here as we start to wind down to single digits and time left.
Absolutely. This game is quite fast and goals can come quickly, as we've said a couple of times during this broadcast. Back to the draw. And we're going to redraw. Referee felt that the ball didn't go high enough in the air. So we have a redraw between Hannah McCarthy and it looks like Lillian Osier. Pinkerton does a nice job to win the ground ball. Picked up by Peredna and then is fouled. And Peredna self-starts. Back up top for Zoe Howe. Over to Davis. Davis drives right-handed. Looked like an off-speed shot. Maybe got tipped along the way, and Hannah Paradise got confused on that one. Lets that one up, unfortunately, for the Bedford Bulldogs. It was a nice finish, though.
Bedford goal by number 16, Kylie Davis.
So 11:09 left here in the second half, and the lead gets pushed back to 3, 12-9, Pinkerton on the goal by Kylie Davis. Strong right-handed dodge, and is able to finish on the bouncing shot. Looked like it might have been deflected. So back to the draw at midfield. The loose ball goes towards the Pinkerton end. And a ground ball picked up there by Sidney Lynch, who's going to be double teamed along the sideline and gets pushed. It looked like the ball went out of bounds, but the referee's going to call a push, and Bedford will keep possession. And move it to McEachern. We have a pick and roll here with Chamberlain Bell, and McCarthy comes in on a nice cut and gets fouled. And another yellow card is going to be distributed. And this one's to Hannah McCarthy for what is likely going to be considered a dangerous shot and a follow-through that likely hit one of the Pinkerton players. The referees are going to come together and conference about this call.
Kind of an unusual penalty to call on an offensive player.
It is. Unfortunately, the offensive player is given a lot of liberties. However, when they follow through on a shot, if they hit one of the defensive players, it's considered dangerous. And it seems like that's what the call was. So Kylie Davis is going to have the ball, and she's going to run into transition and show some wheels getting through and creating an odd man, but she's going to pull it out. And with a 3-goal lead and 10 minutes left, Pinkerton might take the air out a little bit here or be a little bit more deliberate on how they approach the offensive end. So Davis looking for the cutters around the crease. Back over to Osier. We got a pick play up top, and the Bedford defense plays it well. Forces a tough pass. And that should be... Pinkerton's able to retain possession. Howe back up to Osier. Over to Davis. Back on the goalie's top right to Osier. Top center to Kylie Davis. Looks like they're going to set up a pick and roll up top here.
There's no shot clock in women's lacrosse, is there?
No shot clock. They've made that change at the college level, but not quite yet at the high school level. They've also made a couple of other slight changes to the gameplay at the college level that likely will trickle down to high school in the next couple of years, but not as of now. Another being free movement on foul calls, and certainly the shot clock. In women's lacrosse, it's a 90-second shot clock at the at the college level, but there's no shot clock on the high school level. So Pinkerton is going to be quite deliberate about how they approach the game here. Now, Harry, they're playing with only 6 players here on the offensive side, and seemingly that one of those fouls that was called earlier is going to be maybe a permanent player down, because I don't remember a recent yellow card for Pinkerton. But Lauren Lasauskas earns an 8-meter here and is able to score offside on Hannah Paradise, pushing the lead to 4, 13-9 with 7:51 to play. And that was quite an offensive possession. They were able to really slow the game down
Goal by number 12, Lauren
and then capitalize. So that's Lauren Lasauskas' 4th on the day. I'm sorry, 5th on the day. As she's put up quite a few numbers here for Pinkerton. With a strong offensive performance. And we're going to go back to the draw again, 13-9. Pinkerton has a 4-goal lead with 7:51 left. And Ozier is able to get possession on the draw. Her height has really helped her with those balls going straight up in the air at midfield. She's able to get her stick really high and gain possession on the loose ball. Lauren Lasowskis takes the ball to the goalie's side right. Back up to Ozier. And over to Davis, who makes a nice face dodge. And that is a laser into the top left corner there. Great shot there by Kylie Davis.
Taking a goal by number 16, Kylie Davis.
And less than 30 seconds later, Harry, they've extended it to a 5-goal lead. Now again, it's a game of runs. Bedford scored 4 goals to start the game. Pinkerton scored 4 to answer, and we've kind of traded goals in the second half. But the last 3 coming from Pinkerton to give them a 5-goal lead.
That 9-1 run for Pinkerton really is the killer in this game. Put them
Sure
in the position
is.
where they're in now.
Sure is, but again, there's plenty of time left. Goals can come very quickly in this game. And Bedford gets possession off this draw. Now they're going to do as much as they possibly can to get into the offensive zone, get a good possession, and hopefully come out with a goal. You know, Pinkerton did a great job there riding or redefending. Their attackers go all the way down to the restraining line on the opposite 30-yard line and really gave the Bedford Bulldogs a hard time getting into the offensive zone. So again, we're 6-on-6 here with multiple yellow cards being called. Sydney Lynch makes a pass into the middle, can't connect. And there's a loose ball out to the restraining line. And they're going to call Astros over the line, so Bedford will get possession of the ball. And Riley Chu will have the ball as a restart. Referee was a little confused on numbers here, but everybody is onside. And Riley Chu goes to the goalie's top left. Sydney Lynch on a nice cut through. Finds McCarthy, who finishes stick side hip. And we have a 14-10 game on a nice goal by Hannah McCarthy. 5:56 left, 4-goal game.
Goal by number 13, Hannah McCarthy.
And we'll go back to the draw to see who will gain possession here, see if we're going to have the Astros take the air out of it a little bit, have a deliberate possession, or if Bedford can put the pressure back on the Astros defense.
This is going to be a key draw here.
I agree, and Ozier's been doing a really good job on the draws here. Number 15 for the Pinkerton Astros. That height advantage really gives her a good advantage here at the X. She's drawing them straight up into the air and getting her stick really high and able to gain possession. Ball back into the defensive half for Bedford. Julian Bell picks up the ground ball, looks upfield to Riley Chu, and they're into transition. Chu's pushing strong. Makes a nice feed to McEachern. Misses the cage, but they back it up with Courtney Dermody restarting from X. Drives right-handed. Takes her time.
That was a great setup on the offensive play there. It's a shame she couldn't put it on goal.
It was, and those are tough shots on the run. McCarthy from top center. Takes a strong shot, misses the cage, but it's backed up by Chamberlain Bell. So she'll come in from the end line. Chamberlain Bell draws a crowd, but can't find an open player. So she'll look for some off-ball cutting. There's Sydney Lynch in the middle. but it's picked up by the Pinkerton defense and pushed out to midfield by Kylie Davis, showing some wheels in transition, now getting it down to the offensive players for Pinkerton. But it's back up top to Madison Dazio, who come make a low shot that's saved by Hannah Paradise on a nice ball at her feet. Now she's going to look for a clear here. Now you'll notice that the Pinkerton players are going to ride and leave the goalie by herself and force her to make a pass to one of the clearing midfielders. And there you have that turnover that they're looking for. They're going to make that goalie make a tough pass. Pinkerton had a nice cut through the middle here, but it's going to go out on the end line. And Bedford will gain possession to Zoe Michaud. She starts up, draws a double team. And the Astros have done a really nice job of riding the Bedford Bulldogs coming out of their own defensive end, putting a lot of pressure on. 2 and 3 and 4 defenders on the ball carrier, making them move the ball. You had a really nice clear by Ava Gaudette. She takes, oh, wow, ball back in from the end line. And unfortunately, Courtney Dermody can't finish while the Pinkerton goalie was out of the net chasing the ball. So Anna Blaska for Pinkerton gets possession, passes back to Sweeney, who will give it over to Sydney Derry as Pinkerton tries to clear the ball. Pass up to Madison Dazio, who will show some wheels in the midfield. Runs through a couple of stick checks. Anna Blaska makes a nice ball on a ground ball and is able to get possession for Pinkerton. We had a foul here, it looks like, on Sydney Lynch as Kylie Davis was coming down on the offensive side. She made a couple of cuts. Looks like she had slipped and maybe tangled her own legs. Sydney Lynch is going to get called for a foul for a push as Kylie Davis fell into her. Tough call for the Bulldogs, but it looked like the right one. And Kylie Davis will have an 8-meter to Hannah Paradise's top right. She's going to decide to pull it out, pass over to, look like Haley Peredna on a nice left-handed goal. One-on-one with Paradise, and we have a 5-goal game, 15-10, with 2.5 to play. And Hannah Paradise is showing some frustration.
They're going to go by number 6, Haley Peredna.
And only 2:33 to go here, 5-goal deficit. Going to be very hard to overcome. Another timeout here called by Bedford, Coach Hodgson. You know, this is the most goals allowed by the Bulldogs in a game so far this season. Very unusual for them. But the Astros really showing some tenacity, not giving up, not hanging their heads when they were down 4-0 early, and really turning the game around between the tail end of the first half and the start of the second with a 9-1 run. Absolutely
true, Harry. They've done a nice job on the offensive side. They've drawn some 8-meter shots. They've been able to capitalize on some cuts through the middle, some drives from behind, and taking advantage of some defensive miscues from the Bedford Bulldogs back on the defensive end. Despite some good saves, you're absolutely right. This is the most the Bedford Bulldogs have let up all season with 15 goals, the next highest being only 7 during the Londonderry game. And with 2.5 left, as you mentioned, a 5-goal lead is tough to come back from. So quite an offensive showing from the Pinkerton Astros as Lauren Lasauskas has led the charge with 5 goals. Kylie Davis has had another 5. Lillian Ogier has really controlled that circle with the draws, retaining possession for the Astros quite frequently. From what I count to about a 3-1 wins to losses. And she's back on the draw again. But Riley Chu's able to get this draw. The ball gets put back on the ground on a nice check by Pinkerton. And they are able to reverse it and get it over to Zoe Howe, who's going to go through the midfield and avoid a few checks and get into the offensive zone, guarded there by Julian Bell. And Bedford's going to be offsides here, so Pinkerton will keep the ball. Up top to Madison Daziel. And the Bedford defense is going to have to try to push out here to cause a turnover. Down over to Caitlin Seleny. A little miscue on Pinkerton's part there, with Madison Daziel temporarily dropping the ball, but is able to get the ball back in her possession. Over to Zoe Howe.
Just 90 seconds left in the game.
Aggressive defense. They're chasing her down, trying to get that turnover. And they do get the ball to pop out, but time is short, as you mentioned. So Courtney Dermody gets a tough check. Falls to the ground, needs a minute to compose herself, but will get possession for Bedford. And a short stoppage. So Courtney will have a free position, not right on the fan, but off to the goalie's right-hand side. So Lauren Sweeney will hug her pipe and try to force an exceptional shot for a goal here. 1:12 left, 5-goal game, as the Astros are looking to close this game out. Ball gets loose. We have another push on the Astros, so Bedford will get the ball here with 1:01 left. Hannah McCarthy at the goalie's back right. So Lauren Sweeney will look to hustle back into the cage. And Hannah McCarthy drives from back right. Looks to go topside with her right hand on a drive. Comes back to her left and looks like she's able to draw a shooting space. Well, wasn't a shooting space, but possibly a illegal check. She drives right hand and is able to finish high, so Hannah McCarthy brings it to 15-11, but there are only 50 seconds left, so it's going to be hard to come back from this.
Bedford goal by number 13, Hannah McCarthy.
That's McCarthy's 5th on the game as well. As she's been able to convert on several of her dodges to the cage. And that was a nice little dip dodge with her right hand from top right. Was able to go up top on Lauren Sweeney. But again, it's 15-11, a 4-goal game with 50 seconds left. And we go back to the draw. Riley Chu's able to come up with the loose ball. And Pinkerton does a nice job coming back with their attackers. Julian Bell is at top center. 35 seconds left. Over to Chu. Makes an aggressive move to the middle, but is eaten up there by the Astros. Turnover caused, and they're in transition with Zoe Howe making a nice run up the right-hand side. She comes back to the middle, 20 seconds left. And it looks like Pinkerton's going to be able to close this out. Riley Chu with a loose ball in the middle, up to McEachern. She has 5 seconds left and can't convert. 1 second left. Chamberlain Bell was able to back it up. And there's a collision here to end the game. An aggressive defensive play right at the buzzer. Chamberlain Bell hit the deck hard and is unable to score. So we're going to end with a Astros victory here at Bedford High School, 15-11, in what proved to be an entertaining game, back and forth. A game of runs, Harry, that we talked about. Some early scoring by Bedford, responded to by Pinkerton,
Final score, Pinkerton.
and then a back and forth affair the rest of the way.